For many Floridians, preparation means evacuation. And so here in Tampa,
the streets are super busy, so you can tell that everybody's preparing and getting ready.
Brittany Miller was filling her gas tank, knowing that soon she won't have the option.
Anytime that storm is coming our way, we always have to be prepared.
Roads and highways headed east away from the storm's potential impact zone are crowded with evacuees. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Tampa.
The suspect in yesterday's deadly shooting at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, is expected to appear in court today.
The big question is why? Why would the suspect open fire at UNC Chapel Hill and gun down a faculty member? Authorities haven't revealed a motive in Monday's deadly shooting, but the suspect remains in custody, and the FBI has been called in to help with the investigation. This student just started her freshman year.
I've only been here a week. You come to college looking for something new, not for a tragedy like this to happen.
Classes are canceled again today, counseling and other resources available to students and staff. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Defendants in the Fulton County RICO case involving 19 defendants accused of trying to overturn the state's 2020 election are making their legal moves. Ex-Trump attorney Kenneth Chesebro filed a motion asking a judge to release all documents related to the investigation. And former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows is waiting for a judge in Georgia to decide whether his racketeering trial will be moved to federal court.
Before any trial, Trump and his co-defendants in the Georgia case are due back here in Fulton County for arraignment September 6th. And those arraignments are going to take all day. Trump will go first, entering his plea at 9:30 in the morning, followed every 15 minutes by the others. And those arraignments are expected to take place on camera.
Aaron Katursky, ABC News.
This is ABC News.
Let's face it, talking about life insurance is never easy. But after we watched a close friend lose her husband with no insurance, we decided that wasn't going to happen to our family.
Yeah, but shopping for life insurance can be almost as difficult as talking about it.
But then we heard about Ethos Life Insurance. They're a new kind of life insurance, built for people on a busy schedule who don't have time for unnecessary doctor's visits, fine print, or hidden fees. Who want to keep it simple.
I couldn't believe how easy it was. We answered a few basic questions, and within minutes, we had an estimate of what it would cost and what sort of policy made sense for us.
I never imagined life insurance could be so affordable.
And accessible.
The peace of mind knowing that our future is secure, it just removes a lot of the fear around getting older and...
Yeah, the unexpected.
I'm glad we talked about it.
I'm glad we went with ethoslife.com.
Go to getethos.com now for your free estimate. That's getethos.com. Getethos.com.
Health experts are warning the public to brace for more COVID this fall.
Dr. Deborah Burke says COVID spikes have happened every summer since 2020.
It is predictable. It's what COVID does.
Burks was a lead COVID official in the Trump White House, and she tells ABC's Start Here podcast that Americans are living in a fantasy world if they think the vaccines developed for the current variants will work.
We're already beginning to see some evidence of a new variant for which the vaccine probably is not well matched.
Burke says drug companies should have spent the last year creating multiple boosters to account for multiple variants. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Russian mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin was buried in a St. Petersburg cemetery today. A spokesperson announced he was laid to rest in a private ceremony. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that he did not plan to attend Prigozhin's funeral. Officials confirmed Prigozhin's death in a plane crash last week, months after he led a failed mutiny against Russia's military leadership. Brittany Shepard, ABC News.
Thank you very much, Brittany. Your ABC News weather forecast being brought to you this hour by Polka Valley Bank.
Your bank shouldn't make you feel like you're on an assembly line. It's about you, your family, your future. That's why you're gonna feel good about Polka Valley Bank, because people have been feeling good about us for over 100 years. Bottom line, we have all the services of a big bank, but we're local. At Polka Valley Bank, our decision-making is local. Our people get to know you and call you by name. It's a relationship with a bank that you can feel good about. See us online at polkavalleybank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
104.7 Mountain Country Weather.
Taking a look at your Mountain Country AccuWeather forecast for today, cloudy with a stray shower or thunderstorm, possible high near 78 degrees. Tonight, cloudy with scattered thunderstorms, a low down near 59 degrees. Clouds and sunshine on Wednesday with a high of 78. Partly cloudy on Thursday, high near 79. Sunny skies on Friday with a high of 82 degrees. Mainly sunny and a high of 86 on Saturday. Currently on the hill, it is 79 degrees, and that's a look at your forecast being brought to you this hour by Polka Valley Bank.
Mountain Country 1
And I want to welcome everyone in studio as we have continued our Tuesday afternoon studio guest interviews. And tell you what, this one came upon me in a very interesting way. I just happened to be down at one of our sponsors, Backwood Ramblings, stuffing my face full of the great food they have down there. And my good buddy Joey Rivera stops by. And, I know Joey, I'd say decently well. If you don't know him, he's the former voice of Spencer Middle School football, maybe still a current voice of Spencer Middle School football, depending on his availability. But Joey is a pilot. And Joey's got an interesting story as to becoming a pilot, but we want to talk with him about that. But before we do, we also want to talk to him about something very cool that he just introduced to me last Tuesday about things going on in the Roane County and Jackson County area when it comes to becoming pilots, comes to aeronautics and flying and things like that. Joey, thank you, number one, for giving me the time here today and for bringing this really interesting thing to my attention. You never know what's going to be available in Roane County, West Virginia, and in the surrounding counties. You are coming up with something very, very interesting when it comes to becoming a pilot.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for your valuable radio time. So we really appreciate that.
I'm always trying to fill time.
Right. Well, prayerfully, this will have a lot of impact on our community as living in rural West Virginia, Calhoun and Roane County and Wirt and stuff, a lot of people forget about us. And there are a lot of great programs out there and people trying to solve problems and stuff, but somehow we get skipped a lot. We don't have coal, we don't have a lot of things like that, and we're not in Charleston, we're not in Huntington, so we get skipped, and that's always been in the back of my mind. And growing up here, when I moved here when I was 12, one of the biggest things I learned here and took away, and that I fell in love with this community, was that community feel. We take care of our own. We take care of each other. Good times, bad times, challenges, weather events. And so I always wanted to figure out a way to give back to that community and, move things forward. And so a long time ago, I wanted to be a pilot back when I was a kid. And like a lot of kids, playing with the toys and the models and stuff like that, built a lot of models and stuff, but I always had that bug. And like any pilot today knows, once you catch that bug, it's pretty much over. Somewhere in your life, you got to try to accomplish that feat of becoming a pilot. And so one of the most important things was my son, Ben, had a conversation with me because I was, like most dads, lecturing my son about meeting your goals and challenges, and you got to dream and dream big and get after it, put the hard work in it. And he threw it right back at me and said, well, what about you? You haven't gone after your goals. Your big dream has always been a pilot. Well, I was working on the road, as a lot of people know. I've always been coming back in and out of Spencer, traveling through. Usually around Black Walnut Festival, I'd find a way or a contract to worm my way back, And so, that hit me. As a dad, I wasn't being a leader.
Yeah.
And wasn't leading by example. And so I promised him, and I pointed to him, and I said, watch, within 12 months, I will have my certificate. And it was about 11 months, 3 weeks, but I got in there and got the certificate, all doing it on the road, bouncing in towns, finding a flight school, a CFI, an hour here, 2 here, was rained out, 11 flights in a row. So there's challenges to this,
So you're telling me that you were in the Air Force.
Yeah.
And did not become a pilot
while
in the Air Force.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Well, I'm going to tell you, let me back up how I got into the Air Force and why I wasn't a pilot. And that is the very reason why I'm talking to you today. It'll tie in because I wanted to be a pilot. And a couple things happened to me. One, I got stigmatisms in the eyes. And so they're mild, but at that time in the Air Force,
that's a no-no.
That's a no-no. So, but the big thing was, a lot of people don't know this, but I was growing up here, but the last couple of years I went back to New York, where I'm originally from. I was a foster kid here, and I went back and went back with my family. The high school there, when I wasn't evidently going to a 4-year school and wasn't going to be the fighter jock that I was hoping to be, they didn't know about the civilian track that I could have taken. I didn't know. That was a world I never knew existed. I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I said, well, I still wanted to serve. My foster father was in the Army. I had family in the military, and one of those things they taught us is you try to serve your community, your state, your country, you give back something. So I went in and went in as a flying crew chief. So I was a crew chief on C-141s based out of McGuire Air Force Base. So that was exciting because in that aircraft, in the cockpit, there's a crew chief seat. And you're right behind the pilot. There's a navigator, and you're sitting right there. And there's your seat with your name on it.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I started flying about the third year in. I started flying a lot and got to be what they call a dedicated crew chief, where they give you your aircraft. It's your name on it. And as I like to remind the pilots, I allow you to fly in my airplane. Okay? So, blessed. I mean, I got to fly around the world, 27 countries, Holy Land, as far north as Norway, far south as Chile, Africa, Mideast. There's a couple places I still don't know where we were, but that's for Uncle Sam to figure out. But that got me into and kept me flying, and I was so busy with that, I really didn't know that was it. I didn't know there was still, at that time, I did not know there was this whole civilian track to the airlines or corporate flying.
We're talking with Joey Rivera. Well, I should call you Captain Joe Rivera, but I just know you as Joey.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was talking about, fostering that love of wanting to fly, at least as a young man, and then going into the Air Force where, you are dealing with planes all the time, and you flew everywhere, but you were not piloting the actual craft. And so when you get out of the Air Force and you go into the workforce, that love and that itch, as you say, just never went away to learn how to fly your own plane. And so you do that with the help of a little push from your son. And so you go into this field now of flying, and you said it took some time and some effort and a lot of hurdles to overcome, but you finally do overcome that, and you become a pilot. And so what do you do with that then?
Well, very fortunate that's blessed to, be working and putting money away, and also decided to downsize and all that. And so my wife, Yolanda, and I, once I started working on my license, we got to get a plane.
Yeah.
So we're owners of a Cherokee 140, a Piper Cherokee, November 6068 whiskey, and we were flying around the country, and posted YouTube videos and stuff to Facebook and stuff like that, trying to incentivize others, and also giving flight. There's several people here in town and church and stuff that I've taken up, and so Yolanda and I had a goal, or kind of like a rule. We can't earn our weekend flight or whatever until we share a flight with somebody. And that's to promote aviation, to share that, and maybe spark something. Somebody allowed me to have a spark in my imagination that I could do this. And so you want to share that. You want to pass that along and pay it forward.
And that comes twofold into what you're doing right now. One would be the club side, and we'll talk about that, and then one would be the actual teaching part of it. So let's dig into it. One of the things that you guys are doing is working with the airfield here with Boggs Airfield, and they're working with the Jackson County.
That's really exciting.
Yes, they're really, as you said before, they are invested.
They're invested
in that area, and so you're able to look into this and find not only fostering your love of flying, but now starting to get something together where you can teach others to fly.
Yes, I was an instructor in many different ways in my work, and I was a traveling instructor at one of my last jobs in the workforce, and I just loved teaching and instructing. And I would take my students, I would fly our plane whiskey to our training locations. It was tough duty, but somebody had to do it, And so we would take students as a reward for somebody to pass a certain test, the highest one or whatever. We'd take out flying as an incentive to do well in the class. And I've got videos on that on YouTube as well. But the two was starting to marry. And so I made a point to Yolanda. I said, I think I got this. Become an instructor, flight instructor, and share this with our community, because I had noticed going around our community that, we got kids that become pilots, but they don't do it here, and they all leave. And that's okay to a point, but we would like to keep some home. And there's others that would like to be home and be a pilot, or own their own airplane, or use it for their business, the oil and gas and flying routes and flying to different destinations and stuff like that. So I made it a point that this was a goal. And so everything from that point on, home-wise, was designed around that. This is what we're going to do. This is going to be my last job, prayerfully, knock on wood, that this is my last career.
Yeah.
Joey 2.0, this is it. And so that's what we did, and I started and stopped and started and stopped.
Just like anyone else with a dream, you're not really sure how to go about it, if it's going to work, and at some point it becomes a leap of faith that you just are going to go for this, because people talk about doing things all the time.
Yes, sir.
To actually get down and dirty and do it is another thing. And so this really neat thing that you've put together, again, we're talking with Joey Rivera, pilot, Captain Joe Rivera, who has started a program. And what's the name of it? Mountain
Aero Club.
The Mountain Aero Club
right.
is part of this when it comes to trying to just continue to foster the love of flying with others in the community. But the teaching side of it comes in where you're actually teaching people to become pilots.
Correct. And so COVID hit, and wow, that was the carpet getting pulled. Everybody. My plane was just taken apart for its annual inspection. Well, that got shut down. It was getting rewired. That got shut down. I started my commercial instrument program so I can become a commercial pilot. That got stopped. Nobody knew what to do. Airports closed, schools closed. That was devastating to the industry. And so, but I kept after it, and as states opened up, I said, okay, where can I go? Where can I go? But start and stop is not going to work. We're going to block some time here. So it came upon us that, of all places, Florida opened up really well, and there's a ton of schools down there. And I took a trip down there and visited 13 different flight schools, and I said, okay, this is what I'm thinking. And so I kind of interviewed them and chose one and blocked 4 months, commercial instrument and certified flight instructor in 4 months. And they thought I was nuts. And I said, okay, what's your point?
Well, anything great's got to be a little nutty, right?
It's got to be a little nutty, but you got to have a dream.
Yeah.
And so if you're willing to put the work on your dream, you'll get there. And so that's what we did. We dedicated 4 months. It was 6 to 7 days a week, 12 to 14 hours a day. And in classes with 25-year-olds out of college, and all this stuff that were brilliant kids flying, and I'm 58, 59 years old.
But you've also had a lot of seat time at this point.
I had a lot of seat time, yeah. And so I got to mentor these kids and as adults, young adults. So I found myself exchanging some mentorship for their brilliance and the knowledge and the regulations, because at 59 years old, FAA regulations don't want to stay in the brain, and because they're so exciting to read.
I'm sure. No sarcasm in that comment whatsoever.
So we exchanged skill sets, and I came out. Unfortunately, there's challenges. And not only is there a pilot shortage, commercial pilot and airline pilot shortage, well, they grabbed tons of instructors and pulled them into the airlines and corporate pilot world. So now there's a shortage of CFIs, certified flight instructors. And now a lot of them have also gone up and moved up into what they call a DP, a designated pilot examiner for the FAA. So now there's a shortage everywhere.
Yeah.
And so as I finished my 4 months and had my flight exam, my check ride scheduled, well, out of the 3 that were approved by the school, they lost 2 of them. And the third one said, I can't handle this work, and went on vacation. I got to take a break. So there I was, all schooled up and no place to go.
Just waiting.
Just waiting. So I come home, and 3 more times, I tried to get a flight exam, and it was like pulling teeth. Oh, we're so backed up. And so I started 3 times. Again, 2 times was delayed because of weather. Okay, bad storms coming in. Well, tomorrow's another flight, another group. So I couldn't get my check ride. Plus, the instructor check ride at a minimum is going to be a full day.
Yeah.
It's going to be about 7-8 hours of ground, because you got to speak the FAA speak, and then you got to go up and teach a DPE that I know how to teach somebody how to fly. And so that didn't happen 3 times. 2 weather and a maintenance delay.
Well, it also takes patience to become one of these people. So you get past it.
I get past it.
You get past it, and now you are on the cusp. You're ready to go, really, with this whole thing. So you're already starting this.
Yes.
And the part of it that is the instructor part, if someone out there wants to become a pilot.
Yep.
How do we do this?
Well, first of all, they get a hold of me at macflyingclub.org.
Macflyingclub.org.
O-R-G, yeah. And, leave me a message. There'll be a place to leave me a message right there on the homepage. We'll contact you. The technical part of it is ground school, okay? And I offer ground school starting September 11th in Jackson County Airport, September 12th. Here, it's going to be 2 nights a week, both locations. So the ground school is all about, Uncle Sam wants to know, do you have the knowledge? So you got to pass a knowledge test. And so I offer live 6 hours a week knowledge instruction, so you can pass the test. It's 12 weeks. And so that starts the process. In the meantime, you can, if you want, start the flying portion of this. However, you cannot take the check ride until you've met both.
Yeah.
So Uncle Sam says that in the FAA says, hey, you got to have knowledge. You got to know how to put that knowledge to work in an airplane, and then you got to be proficient at it. You got to be good at it. And so that's my part, is to teach you, get you the knowledge in your brain, how it applies to an aircraft, and how to be a safe, competent pilot in the national airspace. And once that happens, you get your golden ticket. Actually, it's kind of like green. And you get that. And that could be anywhere from 4 to 6 months, or 6 months to a year if you stay at it, be consistent.
Yeah.
And the great thing is, a lot of the kids, 15, 16-year-olds, realize I can get my pilot certificate before my driver's license. So
now, we've had some kids in the Roane County area that I know of over the years who have done that.
That's right.
We've got some adults here who I know who had to go out of town, out of state to become pilots, and always wanted to do it. They did that. We've got a kid here. Well, I call him a kid now. He's a commercial pilot now in Lake and Board. There is a need, or not, how would you say a need? A want. There's an urge for people around here, and I hope you find those people. I hope this is part of it, that you can get the knowledge out there to people. Hey, if you've ever even had that itch that you had back when you were a young man, it's here now. I can do this for you. I can teach you what you need to know. I can get you there if you just find me, get a hold of me, and you can teach somebody to become a pilot right now in Spencer, West Virginia.
Right, and so you have big programs, like Marshall has a brand new program, Airport, but there's a great little 2-year program at Fairmont State, the Robert C. Byrd Aviation Center there at Clarksburg Airport. So one of the main missions of the club is that to promote aviation. It's available because I didn't know it was available. Okay? I don't want any senior graduating high school looking for something in aviation and not knowing.
Yeah.
That's going to be a shame on me now. So within our counties, we're Calhoun, Roane, Clay, Jackson County. I'm going to be the biggest loudmouth about aviation because we have great kids.
Yeah.
And like you said, they leave for their education. No, you can get your education here. Between me and Richard Boggs, we can get you private, instrument, and commercial rated to where you can fly commercially. Okay? And so now the world is kind of your oyster right here. Okay? You can still be at home. You can have your job and do some flying. A lot more is open. Or you can take a program like ATP has, a big national program, and spend $90,000 to $100,000. That's just their fees. Forget the home and eating and food, lodging, all that other costs, and come out. You'll come out with your certificate. What I was talking about to Mr. Boggs was we want to design a program for that particular student based on what their goals are, what they see themselves. Are you going to be a private hobbyist? You're going to own a plane like Yolanda and I do? Are you going to want to be into the commercial, like the jets? You want to fly single engine, twin engine, turboprops? You see yourself in the cargo world, things like that, or you want to hit the airlines? And so we will map that out. So a 15, 16-year-old, listen, today, we'll sit down with you and your parents and say, here's the phases you will go through, and here's how we're going to set you up. And that may be different for somebody else. Okay? And we eventually want to build a pipeline to a Fairmont State, to a Marshall, or to other schools where, okay, we've got them prepped and ready for you at a much lower cost.
Yes. That was number one I wanted to mention. The affordability of what you're going to offer is a lot different than others. And again, it's just such a perfect opportunity for people in this area and in our surrounding counties. If they have that urge, that itch, if they always have, maybe they started something years ago and then went away from it and want to get back into it. Here it is, right here in Spencer, over in Jackson County, for them. And also that Aero Club, the Mountain Aero Club, just enthusiastic about flying, which is really neat too.
Right. You don't have to be a pilot. You don't have to be a medic. Maybe you just want to promote aviation. Help me, because it's something that's going to be built and it's going to be built by the community.
Yeah.
And I know this community, and I know there'll be people that'll show up to help me build this, because I'm no island.
Yeah.
I don't have a monopoly on this. I need to build a team. I need to build people who want to get these kids out of the holler, looking up to the sky and say, I can do that.
Yeah.
So the program is all about letting people know that it exists. Now, we may not be a good fit for you, but you'll know it exists. We can take a discovery flight, see if we're the right people for you, if aviation really is something that you want to go further in. And it's also for, like you said, people made 10, 15, 20 hours and life hit them and they stopped. We can help you finish.
Yeah.
Teachers, you got STEM courses out there. We can hook you up with AOPA, the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. They got terrific STEM courses. I can help you teach that, get you through their programs. The Experimental Aircraft Association, the EAA, also has programs like that, which Jackson County Airport has a chapter. Okay, that's headed up by Chuck Heilman out of Jackson County Airport there. And so there's a lot of different paths. And, oh, by the way, they offer scholarship money.
Yes.
And the one thing about pilots is you can't get us to shut up about flying, okay? And they love to find people who want to get into aviation, young or old, doesn't matter. Airlines are hiring people in their 40s and 50s to start their career in airlines. In my lifetime, there's no better time to start a corporate pilot or an airline pilot career. And so we just want to start that here, get you out the door on a road map, and then you decide how to handle the challenges, because there will be challenges, and it's a meritocracy. The FAA doesn't kid around. You have to perform.
Yeah.
You have to know it. You have to know how to apply it, and you have to be good at it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so once that happens, then you're in demand.
Yeah.
And I had a recent post on my Facebook page. The new contract was signed with the airlines, and it is mid 300,000s where the captains of the heavy planes top out at. That's a pretty nice top.
I've been paid less in my life.
Yeah, I mean, you've been there, done that. Okay.
We're speaking with Joey Rivera, Captain Joe Rivera, pilot number 1, and now opening up this instructor's course to teach you how to be a pilot if you've always wanted to, if you've ever wanted to. There are opportunities, young and old, here in Roane County and the surrounding counties to do that. Obviously, you hear the love of flying in Joey's voice when he talks about this stuff, and he said pilots could talk forever. It's already 2:30, so let's talk about a few of these things coming up, though. I know you wanted to highlight some of the really interesting things that are coming up very, very soon that people can get involved with here.
Well, first of all, the ground school, very limited seating, just half dozen at each location. It's at an introductory price. We're talking 6 hours a week, 12 weeks of training. Next year, it'll be at full price, which will be at least $100 or more per course. All the books, the flight bag, everything to get started with the knowledge stuff. September 11th starts Jackson County. September 12th starts here, 2 nights a week. And I have it's right on my homepage of the macflyingclub.org. You just scroll down to the bottom, fill out the form, let me know that that's something you want to talk about. There's no obligation, and we don't sell names and stuff like that. So everything's kept private. So that's starting. Let me know right away, because it's coming. I need to order books and secure the seating. The Mountain Aero Club is organizing. We're going to be a nonprofit, and its function is to promote aviation and to be a collection point for us to build a scholarship fund for us.
Yes.
It's going to be just for these counties here. So Roane County, Wirt County, Calhoun, Clay, Jackson, those counties that everybody else forgets about. We'll collect funds and offer scholarships as we collect funds for the coming year to get these kids, or if you are a pilot and you want to upgrade your rating or certificate. And, at first they'll be small, but every bit helps. And one of those programs really is all about getting in tune with the pilots, meaning you can sponsor a pilot. So the scholarship fund will be either general, or say Andrew wants to be a pilot, you can adopt Andrew as one of your pilots, and you can dedicate a portion of your donation to his specific or her specific flying. They're also going to be staged, so you can set somebody else for the initial, the solo, finance them up to cross country or full bit. So over time, we want to have fundraisers and stuff and build this community back up like it used to be, very vibrant here, and allow opportunities to help bring the costs down. And get these kids and get these people up in the air. The other thing that I really want to stress to the community here is a famous West Virginian, Chuck Yeager.
You may have heard of him, people.
You may have heard of him. The world has heard of him. And they're celebrating his breaking of the sound barrier, which he's famous for. He's famous for a lot of things, but that's the biggie. That was the shot heard around the world in aviation. And so he flew, first one to fly faster than the speed of sound at level flight. That was a big barrier to aviation. And so the EAA chapter that Chuck Holloman leads over at Jackson County Airport is hosting none other than Victoria Yeager to celebrate. And the Yeager family can go anywhere to celebrate this. And they're coming here. They're coming to our community.
That's amazing.
That's an honor and a privilege, okay? They could be at an Air Force base. They could be on the news. You know, they're coming here to our community. And so we're excited about that. That's going to be October 14th, okay? What's even, add to that, but wait, there's more. You know, what we're even excited about is the Yeager family has supported the Young Eagles program out of the EAA, and where they take anyone from 8 to 17-year-olds and give them free flights. And so if you're a pilot, this is a call out to you. We need pilots.
Yes.
We don't want to turn any kid away. That would break our hearts.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're lining up pilots right now for October 14th. There'll be registration. There'll be more information. I'll put it out to you, how to register and all that. But we'll be giving free flights to 8 to 17-year-olds. So that's something we're extremely excited about. And more than that, really is about getting these kids looking forward, looking up to the sky, dreaming high, achieving goals, but they can start here. They don't have to really leave.
When you think about that, Joey, I'm talking with Joey Rivera, the pilot, running this brand new pilot instructors thing where you can become a pilot here in Spencer or Jackson County area, part of the Mountain Aero Club. There may be some 8-year-old kid who doesn't ever have access to flying for any reason whatsoever. You may get this kid up in the air at 8 years old, and you may spark that interest that you had as a child. And then once you get them up there and you see that look on their face, you can say, okay, would you like to do this someday? And then they say, absolutely. You just never know how that could affect a kid. So free flights on October 14th, 8 to 17-year-old kids. If you've ever dreamed of it, if you've never had a chance before and you just want to test it out, this is an opportunity. And again, if you're a pilot in the area, you guys could certainly use pilots for that day. That's just a really, really wonderful thing. And I hope that the youth take advantage of that here in this community.
Absolutely. And nothing would make the Yeager family smile than to see that outpouring of affection for the Yeager family, what they've done for aviation and EAA, because they were longtime members of EAA and promoted this. They put, as leaders in the organization, the Yeager family's put over 1 million kids into airplanes.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're dedicated to this. Okay, and I was telling you before we went live, there's a couple of important facts. This is not a guy thing.
Yeah, this is anybody.
This is male or female, especially you ladies listening, okay? Or if you have a daughter, a son or daughter, it doesn't matter. Women make great pilots, okay? Don't let anybody fool you, okay? I was telling you about two of them, an Amanda Lee and a Jasmine Mugbelly is her name. But Amanda Lee, if we're busy in here in the holler and stuff, you don't really see the news like I see it and look for it. But she became the first U.S. Navy Blue Angel pilot. Okay? And Jasmine Mugbelly is a female astronaut, just flew up to the Space Center on SpaceX.
Yeah.
Okay? And Jasmine, 150 combat mission in a Marine helicopter. So these women are no joke here. These are pilots, okay? And too often, the ladies, the female community thinks that maybe this is too geeky, nerdy kind of stuff for me. I'm saying no. The country could use you, aviation could use you, and your leadership and your experience, and pay that forward as well. Yeah. And so, as great as the ladies' accomplishments as they are, Amanda Lee and Jasmine Mugbelly, Amanda's from Minnesota, and Jasmine's parents are from Iran. They're refugees. They're not from West Virginia. And so that's the part that kind of sits in my craw a little bit. We got great kids here. Who's going to be the second female pilot? Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
Who's going to be another astronaut, female in space?
And why not West Virginia?
Why not a West Virginia kid? Why not a West Virginia girl?
Yeah.
Why not? Elon Musk is writing a story on how he's going to have space travel to Mars. And if he's successful, he's going to have pilots and astronauts. Why can't a West Virginia guy or girl be on that flight?
No.
And my mission is to make sure it's not because I didn't yell and scream and holler loud enough.
Well, one thing we know, Joey Rivera, is that you can talk about it.
Yes.
And very happy that you approached me. Very happy that you got a hold of me. Again, just a twist of fate at a restaurant here. And I know you're very passionate about it. And we hope to talk with you again about this as the future continues to roll through, as this program that you've started from scratch gets working. Again, folks, if you're looking to get a hold of Joey Rivera, Captain Joe Rivera, for this pilot school, you can get a hold of him online at, once again,
MACFLYING Club.org.
MacFlyingClub.org.
Yep.
Get a hold of him on there, and then you can get this started. Again, need to know very quickly for the early part of it, because September 11th and 12th are coming up quickly. Do save the date, please. If you're a parent out there, October 14th, they are going to be doing free flying for 8 to 17-year-old kids, and that's in our listening area, folks. So make sure you save the date for that one. And again, if you're a pilot, they're looking for pilots for that as well. Joey, thank you so much for coming in, and we look forward. We're going to talk to you again about this as this program continues to get going. I know you're in the infancy stage still, and looking forward to it. So exciting, and I hope this is a big success, because I know how much you care about it.
Well, it's up to the good Lord. We told him what our plans are, and if he keeps me sane and healthy, we'll make it through. You know, we can give him the plans. It's up to him to see it all through and put the right people in front of us, the right team together over the years, so it goes way beyond my life and takes care of this community for decades to come. That's the whole goal.
Folks, we appreciate talking to pilot and Captain Joe Rivera. And again, that's MacFlyingClub.org. And again, save the date, October 14th, 8 to 17-year-olds, free flights in Roane County, West Virginia. We're going to get it back to some music here, and we'll check in with the news here in just a little bit.
104.7 FM, WVRC, Spencer.